Last time on the Empire's Edge.
Math. Everyone's favorite thing, math.
Yay!
A 20
Natural 20 she rolled.
God, that's amazing!
All right. I smash it with a hammer.
Please.
I should have done sneak attack damage on that last hit because I have an ally within 5 feet of it.
You took your...
Can I add my lair action at this point in the combat?
And with that crack, you hear a snap going through this entire room, and it flings back and it drops. Dead.
Oh my gosh.
I took 80 points. I am at 28 of 108.
Dude, I took 6. I am... Don't hit me.
He throws his hammer.
20 versus armor class?
You guys are deciding, you have to think, where do we go from here? How do we get this stuff out of here? But you have defeated this dragon. And you do have the leaves that you've been questing for all this time. And at the end of this fight now, you level up.
Yes!
Yay.
Woo! It's been a minute.
Yeah.
So the relief that you think you should be feeling, that it's dead, that Astari's dead, and it's laying just right over there where you brought the treasure back to, that feeling hasn't gone away yet. I guess it's so massive. It was so deadly, even though it's been, maybe a half an hour now since the battle ended, maybe something like that. And it still feels...
I think I could look at it. It still looks dead, right?
Her take, and I thought she was going for more claws.
Oh, yes, she definitely
looks dead.
There hasn't been any
Nothing's
movement.
blinking or moving.
If it was a Shocker movie, probably the tail would have twitched a number of times or sort of like uncoiled and whipped itself back and forth a couple of times.
Is she going for an Oscar?
I wasn't going to go into that sort of detail, but yes, she seems
Dead,
definitely
for sure
dead. You put a little mirror in front of her giant head mouth, and there's no mist appearing on the mirror.
We had all this time
So
to
we've
find
got
out.
all our treasure together.
Do we think that between the two bags that we have, we can just shovel all the treasure into this bag, or do we have to leave some stuff behind?
We're not leaving anything behind.
Well, I intend to build a keep on top of this place. So.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, you would think that that everything would fit there, but before we go into the actual details of what's happening in the game, let me back up a step and let's just talk about what's changed in our characters since we've leveled up.
Yes.
Ooh.
Because 11 character levels, that both Jacob and Boris have dipped into other classes. But Zelen, why don't you start off? What's changed for you, or if much has changed for you as an 11th level druid?
I have 5 more hit points, and I have access to 6th level.
5 plus con.
I was going to say 5, only 5.
I said 5 more.
Yeah.
But
5
also
plus
your
constitution
constitution
modifier.
adjustment too.
I didn't know that.
Oh.
Yay!
Leveling up is even better now.
Well, what is? Yay!
Well, it's probably already factored in because you used.
No, I
D&D Beyond.
overrode it because I don't like it to do my rolling for me. I like to do my rolling for me.
There you go.
Still might have been in there, but we'll have to look at that.
Yay! That's exciting. So
Because your con adjustment's what,
I
like
have
3, 2 or 3?
I have 8 more hit points.
8, okay, 3, yeah.
Okay.
And I've access to 6th level spells, and not only in the Druid realm, but also in my 2 special spell books, Elcid's spell book and the crystal
Right.
things. So I can make a homunculus. Homunculus.
Homunculus.
You need to be able to say it before you can make it.
Never mind, I can't
It
do
comes
that.
out looking like Quasimodo.
If you can't spell it, you can't say.
Aw.
Well, great. Yeah, so what's your hit point total right now?
Plus the ones I didn't know about.
Yes, all told.
92.
Okay.
So say yay.
Yay. That's fantastic. It's
Be happy
marvelous.
for me, damn it.
That's marvelous.
All right. Is that all you got? I mean,
Kinda.
I ask because if it's not a lot, I'm looking at my stuff. The only special thing that I got, I know, I didn't get anything terribly amazing. I was due for the ability score improvement. Did you? Is that something that happens at
I'm
level
not
11?
due yet.
No. So I was due for that. I took another level in Rogue. I decided instead of doing the ability score increase, I would take a feat. So I now
So
have
you're,
the
you're
sharpshooter.
7 and 4.
7 and 4.
Yeah,
Yep.
7 ranger, 4 rogue. Got it.
So sharpshooter feat I took, so
Nice.
now I no longer have disadvantage when I'm outside my first range increment. I don't care about cover unless it's full, and I can choose to take a minus to my attack of -5 to do an extra 10 damage.
I can imagine all these situations where you see someone spying at you. They're around the corner. They step around the corner, and you look. Is their toe around the corner?
Can I see any part of
I can
him
see
because he's
any
going to
little
hate
thing of
it.
them? That arrow's coming right around the corner and shooting him in the heart.
And then I rolled rather well for my hit points. I now have 104.
Wow! At what point did you pass Zelen in that?
We were this our last level. I think we were
Neck and neck. but
neck and neck.
Did you up your?
I was gonna up my con if I had
Right,
up.
yeah.
I did not originally until I went back and looked at feats. When I'd up my con, it had launched me to like 115 or something like that with those.
Big change. Yeah.
But when I took that out, it dropped me down to 104, which
Well, that's great.
roll-
I mean, you've
I-
been up in melee so much lately, so that you should just.
I let
Stay
it
there.
roll for me, which is why I'm not quite sure what happened, but I'm fine with it.
Okay.
I just said, +1 in Ranger, and then my hit point total changed. I'm like, perfect, great, or
Yeah.
0.1 in Rogue rather, +1 in Rogue. Yeah. Aside from that, everything else is pretty much the same. I've reworked a lot of my stuff so that way I don't forget about other abilities that I've already had that I have not been.
It does get
Remembering-
complicated the further up in level you go.
And especially when you have two completely different classes that are actually interfacing with each other rather nicely. So I'm enjoying my
Yeah, nice.
my Rogue dip.
Cool. Very cool.
I
Boris?
put my level into Paladin, so I'm an 8th level Paladin because I want to get all those high level Paladin things.
Yeah. So you're 8 and 3.
Yeah. So took feat as well. I took Heavy Armor Master, which means I reduce non-magical bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage by 3 points.
Dang.
That's
which
really
is
cool.
real nice. It also upped by my strength by 1, putting me at a 20, which is really nice.
Yeah.
Wow. And my current hit point total is 118.
Man. Yeah. Yeah. Very tank-like, very stompy.
Feeling good.
Yeah, that feat reminded me of from the old days of AD&D, the field and full plate armor.
Yeah.
Where the armor itself would absorb damage, and I guess somehow with your skill, it's doing that. You're twisting your body so it's always hitting the thicker part of the armor. Who knows how
I'm
that
reducing
you work that
damage.
out. Yeah,
it's
but that's
minimizing their efficacy.
that is great. Yeah, we'll be paying much more attention to what the actual source of damage is when it comes to what's attacking you.
Yeah.
All right, very very cool. All right, so back into the game setting. You've piled up all that treasure together. You're looking at it as the whole mass has been compiled, really for the first time, as far as you know, that it's in that one pile with. And we'll assume that there was some time left on your charge the last time you used your wand, Zelen.
Yeah.
That there is a faint trace of magic coming off of it that you did not perceive the same way as you were examining things individually. That you're detecting that there is a faint necromancy. The same way there was a strong necromancy on that arrow, that's in the pile of the hoard right now. There is a very light necromancy seems to be emanating from the hoard itself.
Oh, so I'm going to share that so using the wand, can I use the wand like a metal detector and kind of go like
Well, you can see the auras, and by the sound of it, the aura is everything.
Yeah,
It's everything.
It's all of it collected.
I'm gonna
Why would it
activate Divine Sense.
All right.
I don't know what that'll tell us, but it might
My-
give us something.
My 3.5 me is coming out, and I need to like suppress that because like necromancy used to be really bad. But, necromancy is just very much just any other type of school now.
Well, it's interacting with the life force.
Yeah, I know. It's
in
oh
some
yeah,
way.
I thought it was something
necromancy's
bad too.
not a bad thing, but just that was the first thing that came to my mind. Was
yeah,
that
me
was-
too.
If
So
Wizards
thank
of
you.
the Coast actually held to their rules, it would have been all the healing stuff. And actually, in AD&D, it used to be healing spells or necromancy because they manipulated the life force. Then, no, we can't have healing and animating dead in the same school. That would make it nuanced.
So with divine sense, you're not detecting any kind of this type of being or that kind of
Yeah. I was hoping I
entity.
wasn't going to go, yes, ghost.
But what you are picking up on is what's tantamount to as though the whole place or the whole hoard is like a desecration. That it in itself is there was a temple once and it's been polluted.
Now, does the money still spend the same?
Place or
No, it seems
it's the treasure specifically.
it seems it's the treasure specifically. That's what you're picking up on
so
here.
it's
So-
been made foul in some way.
With religion skills, can you do stuff with your religion skill?
Can you
we
bless
have
this?
we have religion rolls. Can we undo the ugly?
Let's have
potentially.
Boris bless this
Well,
mess.
why don't you do whether it's you could do it as an arcana or as a religion.
It was a natural 20 for a little bit, and then it kicked over to a 14. So, not bad.
Not bad,
But,
yeah.
Mine is 17 arcana.
I've got a total of... there it is. Unnatural 20 religion.
Okay, very nice.
16.
And 16. Yeah, so with the 16...
Arcana or religion?
They're the same plus. I'll do religion too. Just so Victor beat me and not Natalie.
Arcana. All right, so a 16 there, and what number did you say?
14?
17.
17. So you're not getting anything. You're looking at it, and you feel not like flummoxed by it, but you're not sure what direction to take with. What could a process be to work with this?
It's a phylactery. The dragon's going to be back in a D10 days.
Let's go with that. But Boris, you said you had an unnatural 20?
Yeah, dirty 20.
Boris, what you're sensing from this is that that it has been tainted to some degree, that you're thinking that even like a remove curse wouldn't even be enough to do to remove this
I'm sure I can.
permanently. That it would take a much greater religious spellcaster to do something like this. Like you would think that it would be an abbot of Arngol of fairly, high level power that would be necessary to remove this in a permanent way from this horde.
So what do we do?
I share that with the party.
Do we
It's,
just leave it all here?
Yeah, we have treasure, but I'm guessing if we take it, whatever...
Yeah, what
is
happens
this
if you don't
necromancy
do
effect?
this?
Do I know with that unnatural 20?
With that unnatural 20, you have an idea that there would be a negative effect. I'm not sure you'd pick up on it exactly, but you do think it could have a deleterious effect on your physical constitution, or
Good
maybe
thing Jacob
your
doesn't know what that word means.
mental awareness.
Evil desecrated necromancy badness would be evil bad necromancy badness if we took stuff.
So we have to leave everything here.
It seems that way.
He's
Yes.
supposing it could weaken you in some way.
That's annoying.
I wonder if the potions of healing, if we have to leave those here too, if they're
part of the treasure.
yeah, so they're wiggly too. So
Oh,
everything has to-
wiggly.
so
Is
everything
the
has to stay
dragon
here.
radiating this same energy? Is the body of the dragon radiating that?
That'd be a yes.
Dang it. He doesn't want us taking anything out of here.
Nothing leaves.
All right. Well, in that case,
We still
Get
have.
upset.
Oh no, we can't even take the bags of holding. They have to stay here too.
I
I
Thank you for
wonder.
catching on.
Maybe we could take some of the water when we go where the good water was, that made the fish really big,
Yeah,
and
right.
bring it back and pour it on it.
I
Like,
BS
maybe-
my way into a commune spell. I'm pretty sure I could BS my way into a Hallows
Try
spell.
that kind of stuff, sure.
Also, there's a fun bit. So we use basically all of a whole bunch of the things that you have. So we just do it to where you set down the staff, create a tree. Using your new spell, we all go into the tree, pop out right next to the Horseshoe Falls, and just immediately just walk through there really quick and just throw it all into the.
bubbling.
as fast as possible.
Either all the fish float belly up to the surface of the water, or they grow like monstrous. They're behemoth attacking monster things. Yeah,
That is a risk I am willing to take.
yeah.
Well, we could try it with
because
just a
you'll
little
step
bit of
into
it.
a
We
coniferous
wouldn't have
tree
to
and
do
out
all
of that one
them.
onto a branch and start
Some
shooting
of you
arrows at
may
it.
die,
Yep.
but that is a sacrifice
I'm
I am
willing
willing to make.
Okay, well, that's awful.
Yeah. So all of this stays here. But wait a minute. What about the leaves? Can we take the leaves?
Are the leaves affected?
That's so as you're passing over those specifically, it looks like these leaves as a different source of power, a different type of power, or they've not been here as long as everything else, that they're not radiating it that same way.
Okay, I'm gonna check his arrow of
Oh,
thing
yeah.
slaying.
It's a tough one because it's definitely radiating even stronger in necromancy.
Oh yeah, I think you should take it anyway. But I think you should carry
I
it.
am more. Thank you.
Jacob, you're looking suspiciously like a guinea pig recently. Have you changed your hair?
Yeah. I am morbidly curious what this actual curse is, but I don't know how much I actually want to test that. What?
Morbid?
Oh, morbid. Okay. Yeah. What's one of the cheapest things in here? Like, okay, what are the little itty bitty statuettes? I want to.
Or a copper piece?
Yeah, the least
The
expensive
very
something would
base
be
part of the economy?
Yeah, but that's tiny. I want something a little bit bigger
So you can tell what it does.
so we can actually see what it does. Like, what if the statuette comes alive and starts trying to attack me, but it's only like an inch tall?
That'd be transmutation, not necromancy.
What if
necromancy is doing something to us?
Oh. All right,
I
fine.
wonder,
I take a
if
single
any
copper
of
piece.
the plants or animals that have lived around here has ever seen somebody try to take something out. Like, could I talk to them and they could say, "Oh
Judging
yeah,
by the trees you were talking to the last time,
they were snotty. They're not so snotty
Especially
now.
after we've
though.
taken
They
their life
don't
force away
have
from them.
Exactly.
Well, but the point is, that's the stuff a mile away from here, much less the stuff here.
Yeah.
But they're like, yeah, the stuff comes and it dies.
So as you guys are talking through this, a little more time's going by, and you know how you react after a battle, and this is arguably one of your largest battles ever. You know, one of those dangerous monsters you've come up against. That you know how you should feel.
Captain Switch's side is feeling pretty okay.
Okay, so
Rude.
with the exception of Jacob, that everyone else took
Again, teasing you specifically,
copious-
but you both flipped during that fight.
But
Oh yeah, we did because she charmed us. Yeah, that's true.
that you feel tired.
Time for a long
Let's
rest.
get out of here. I'm gonna cast hold on. Aura of Life.
And read the full description Aura of Life does.
Okay. There we go. Life preserving energy radiates from you in an aura with a 30-foot radius.
Okay.
Until the spell ends, the aura moves with you, centered on you. Each non-hostile creature in the aura, including you, has resistance to necrotic damage, and its hit point maximum can't be reduced. In addition, a non-hostile living creature regains 1 hit point when it starts its turn in the aura, with 0 hit points.
Okay, so it stabilizes anyone who's at
Who's
0.
dead.
Okay.
Dying.
So that
Oh.
that
The
had,
dead stay dead.
but it didn't have anything to do with like any other like states of being. It was just
Resistance to necromancy.
Necrotic damage
Just
does not
necrotic
equal necromancy effects.
mhm.
Oh,
Necrotic damage is a particular type of damage, like what I do with my hex or you do with blight.
oh. So life preserving energy doesn't help.
It sounds like it would. I can see how you got there.
Yeah.
Mechanically speaking, no.
I could see that
So
too.
can I not cast that?
Well,
Because-
Sucks it back into her fingertips, and
but does
Oh,
it
that was a horrible sound. Sorry.
you didn't
Does-
see that.
does it have a healing effect beyond that? That
I think it was
is
just
it healing anybody as you're doing that? Because some of you are still down.
It only heals people at 0.
At 0.
Okay, yeah,
Just
so-
this year at 0.
No, I think you'd understand
We
the
were too
nature
good
of
in the fight.
the spell that you wouldn't have.
Okay, but
Wouldn't
I
have
think
done
we
that.
better get out of here. I'm feeling woozily.
Yeah.
Let's just get away. Let's just move up even just a little bit further just to get away from some of this. Maybe even into one of the side rooms.
Side rooms are definitely still just places that are down in here. You'd have to go like kind of up
Back to that
and out
stair
of this.
and up.
Yeah.
I mean, are we differentiating? Does it feel like we're feeling this way because of the area that we're in? Or do we feel like we're under some sort of a magical effect? Another one of these layer things, like upon the death of the thing, we get enchanted with something?
It seemed more in contact with the horde items.
Oh, okay. So I put the copper piece back down that I had, deciding against that genius item that I had, or idea that I had, and I think we start going back
just
out.
moving out.
back the way we
yeah,
came.
But I mean, maybe we take the leaves and like wrap it in a cloak or something, so we're not touching it too directly.
The leaves seem to be fine.
Okay. All right.
That
So
your examination of them indicated there wasn't any necromancy on them.
right. So let's move up. Let's just get away from this a little bit and see if we start feeling a little bit more clear-headed.
And I do begrudgingly put the arrow back as well. Do not put all of my things into the handy haversack.
Go ahead and make that religion roll again or arcana roll again.
Oh, wow.
21.
Nice.
19.
I did a 21 as well.
Nice.
Aw. I wanted to tell you guys about magic.
So all of you have the awareness or the belief through, I guess, your knowledge of your religion or how magic effects work, that you feel pretty sure that whatever is affecting you right now will. And
Forever?
unless it can be in some way removed from you, whatever this curse-like effect is. But that whether you are carrying the horde items with you at this point, probably wouldn't make any difference.
Oh.
It might not even make it worse, but
Do you or do any of us know someone capable of casting that spell that you said that we need?
By heading way far away, getting to Abbot Sigmund in Arngol College.
yeah, you're figuring it would probably be like a hollow spell, something fairly high
Yeah.
level.
Oh. Now, we think the leaves are untouched? Because, I mean, do we even want to go back to Azongo's tower with the stuff that we have with us now, even being under effect by this for fear of it possibly corrupting? Like, if this is some sort of a trap, if we go back to that safe place and that energy we bring with us corrupts the area around us, do we want to get saved before?
Every one of you made a successful roll on that. It was that you robbed the treasure, that you're the ones that actually were handling the stuff, that you would only handle that if you had killed her or in some way snuck in here to rob her, and it's because of that. So probably wouldn't be able to taint that, or wouldn't affect others or other places, because those other places and people weren't here robbing her hoard.
Well, we're already cursed. We might as well just take all the stuff.
Yeah, I agree.
Start shoveling it
it's
back
not
into
going
the
to make a
bag.
difference. We might as well take it with us. And I wonder if we could take it to the throne and put it on the throne, because that's a pretty hollow
Maybe.
thing. Maybe that
If the
would.
leaves are safe, it's worth a shot.
Right.
Yeah, and honestly, taking it to Azongo's tower might just, skip to the end with that. If, since it's part of Azongo's tower.
Finish
yeah.
completing the tree, and a blast of good energy waves across all of us. And
I like that.
saves all of our skin. All right, let's do that.
All right, so as you're putting stuff, I'm guessing, into either the bag of holding or into the haversack, that your hand does touch upon that iron bottle again, which
yeah.
you guys have not interacted with beyond
Moving it.
moving it, yeah,
What-
and
and remind
maybe
us again,
is it?
guessing
what was the-
what it is.
What was the magic from it again?
Conjuration, I think.
Conjuration, right?
Okay, and we decided it was not, in fact, I want alcohol, give me alcohol. Alcohol.
Right.
appears.
I don't think we had determined
Yeah, I
that.
don't think
we
we
just
know
know
yet.
it's a stoppered bottle.
Right.
Yeah.
And you said you said this, Boris, a moment ago.
How big is it?
It would be like a carafe size bottle.
Okay.
A coffee pot full of tequila. Oh, no, so I mean, what happens? I mean, does it have like a lid on it, or is it just like a goblet kind of a thing? Or
It has a
Brewing
stopper.
coffee with tequila.
okay, so what's in it if we open it up?
So you're going to take the stopper out?
Oh, why not? Does it slosh around? Do I feel anything? Got some weight to it?
It has some weight to it. 'Cause
Vinegar
The
smell?
whole thing's iron.
Yeah, it's an iron bottle,
Yeah,
so
so
it's
it
going to be
definitely
heavy.
Oh, yeah.
if you used to seeing that size bottle pick up, and it's either probably mostly
Shake it
ceramic.
vigorously to say anything.
Just to make sure all the
carbonated?
Does
chemicals are
anything
mixed
today?
in.
Stop
Yeah,
it.
right. What does this do to the nitroglycerin that's inside?
I'll just, oh
But
god.
that you haven't.
That'd really ruin a cement mixer.
I'm curious. What do I see inside if I uncork it?
That as soon as you do, there is like a rush of energy. There's sound,
I've made a mistake.
Yeah, you uncorked the bomb.
and then there is a very tall and outlandish being standing right next to you.
Define outlandish.
Looks like he's a character piece from some play that you've seen produced in the I can't think of the name of the place, in the Confederation of Duchies.
Okay.
That this would be an imagined character from Old Bravis. This would be somebody dressed in some way that it doesn't even meet any social cues.
But they look human?
This is a really, really precise, really vague description.
He looks
It's as
human?
precisely vague as I could
And
get.
his name is Tom.
Much
There are those who call me
larger.
Tim.
We not quite giant size, but definitely heading toward like a bugbear or an ogreish.
Does he look aggressive?
Yeah, what's he doing? Is he looking like he's casting?
At the moment, he's smiling,
Okay.
and
Is it an ominous, creepy smile?
Exactly. What kind of
looks-
smile? Like yum dinner?
It
or?
is. It is definitely an ominous and creepy smile because it's as though this being has been either summoned with this or trapped by this. But either way,
cork the bottle, see if he goes away.
looking right at you, Jacob. He says first in a language that you don't recognize or pick up on.
Can I read the
sound
Read his lips.
vibrations
Read his
in the
lips.
air? There we go.
And then he tries. And
What did you just do?
What was that?
Sorry.
Did you just send Alexa tumbling in between the wall?
No, I knocked a box down.
Oh, nice.
I was just adding to the tension.
Congrats.
Rolling it.
And then
Rolling it. Boom.
the next moment, it tries something, and you pick up a few words you would guess would be what you've been approximating Kremlin, and then it tries it again, and it's almost talking like a couple words you pick up in Corman, and then it starts talking in what would be the language more typical of the Confederation of Duchies.
Oh, wow.
And
This man just tried 9 dialects in common and finally got the one.
What he keeps trying to say, and he gets it because he's saying, you would imagine, the same thing each time. And this most recent time, it is thank you. And he's talking to you, Jacob, as he says thank you. And he can tell by your facial expressions that he actually said the right one. He's like, oh.
So
finally,
he never tried, draconic or giant or anything like that.
No, because you don't look like either of those things. And he said, I must say first, what is the state of Kremlin?
Destroyed for millennia, I think.
And he shakes his head and he said, well, it was something that had to have been. And I must say I'm not surprised by that. It was a brief moment in time. And he reaches forward, and unless you stop him, he's taking the bottle out of your hands.
Who are you? Like slowly pull it back closer to myself.
He takes your hand fisted around this thing and raises that up, and he's showing you the images on the side, and he says, it's right there. I am Mundir.
I look at the
10,000 years and such a crick in the neck.
I look at the guy who always talks about being able to read everything. I'm like, really? You're going to help us with that one? Thanks so much. What does it say? Tell us about this guy. I hand him the bottle.
What does it say? Guy with thing says stuff on thing.
That here is the home and the transportation and the prison of Mundir.
Okay, so I'm guessing Mundir is his name.
Mundir, why were you placed in the bottle?
That is a complicated question, but...
Were you placed or trapped?
Both, but it was...
Kind of a long shot. How's your casting of Hallow?
Oh, I like it!
That would be a marvelous thing to be able to do. However, I've never studied in those ways.
What ways do you study?
That is...
Different ones.
That is a question that would not be answerable the way you've asked the question itself. However, I would... enjoy talking with you, but I must get my bearings. Your name is, and he was looking at you again, Jacob.
Okay, let's do an insight. Does he actually, in this moment, seem trustworthy, rather?
Okay, roll it.
I'm going to activate Divine Sense.
Ooh, how about a 23?
He seems completely sincere that he wants to know your name, and he wants to leave.
Okay, Jacob Treadstone.
What do I get from Divine Sense?
And again, that's... What is that? And you've said it a
once an episode for the
time.
first 10 episodes,
Yeah.
and then never again, apparently.
Multiples of 7. Episodes that are divisible by 7, you also mentioned.
Evidently, yeah. Fiends, Celestials, and Undead.
That they're near you. Isn't that all that it does?
Within 60 feet, as well as Consecration or Desecration.
Yeah, so then what are you actually hoping to get from it?
To see if he is a Fiend, a Celestial, or an Undead.
Okay.
Or if he is consecrated or desecrated.
None of those things hit. That he doesn't seem to be any of those things.
Okay, well that narrows things down somewhat.
And he says, and you gave him your full name, Jacob Treadstone.
Village of Gryant. But that name means absolutely nothing to him, though.
No, it's like, it says from the village of Rock. Okay, that's interesting. But I shall return. I'm not simply summoned by you, but I can be called on to aid you. But that can only happen if I can get my bearings. I know where I am. I'll bring the flask back to you. But in the meantime, I need to take it with me.
Insight?
So, insight? Does that mean anything? Natural 20.
Nice.
Beats my 16.
It really sounds like he's saying that he's going to let you hang on to the bottle once he gets some kind of a bearing, a localization of to where he is, maybe not even just in the world, but in the universe right now, that he's trying to figure out what his place is before he knows how he can interact or what's there to interact with.
Is there anything we can do to help you?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, beyond handing me the...
Beyond handing you the flask.
You could tell me what are the political powers that exist in this region right now?
I think that'd be more my
I was
department.
gonna say like,
Yeah, I
yes,
start-
I studied in school.
I'm
I
assuming there's
paid
dirt
attention.
around here, and I could draw with a stick.
Sure. On the floor.
so
here.
kind of rough outline of the continent, political borders of the Confederation of Duchies, roughly where we are in Southland, the Regtech Hagiak slag mark.
I wait the perfect
Getting
amount of
into
time
Corman
as he's
Empire.
doing this to pull the map out of my bag and just say, now, other way you could look at it.
Yeah, so then we suddenly zoom into like this.
It's like, we are right here.
We're right where that stick is. And where that stick is, we have a really detailed area rather than showing him where the political powers are.
I'm pretty sure we've grown the map though. We have it stretching from like Carn Kelly out to
you've
the
kept
area over
adding
here.
to it. Yeah,
Okay,
it's
we've
pretty
got
extensive.
from Atlanta to Macon.
How big is the area that we're in?
It's pretty huge.
Oh,
Yeah, I forget my own numbers, but it was like 1,600 square miles. Something
just
like
sworn
that.
I had a map of like the
Yeah.
larger area.
Well, but I think you do. That it wouldn't be like all the small details, but you'd be able to tell like where the borders of the Confederation of Duchies are and things like that. But it's still mighty huge.
I would have thought so, but Boris is doing a great job with stick and mud.
All right, so as you as you're defining all of that, he's nodding head and he says, "Well, the continents themselves seem to be where they should be. The major land masses, rivers are drifting. This is very helpful." The flask,
Oh.
and he holds his hand out.
All right, yeah. Unless I get any like objections from the rest of them, I
I don't wanna
hand it
fight
back
him.
over to him.
I'll return.
Okay.
And he's gone.
So how did he just
Like-
poof
He left.
and just
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Well,
Not the
we are-
weirdest thing that's happened to us today. Memorable. So we shovel everything into the bags and walk out. Any
I'm going to take 10 minutes to cast my Find Familiar ritual to get Usud back.
Oh yeah. How's Jas doing?
Kind of lost
It
track of
died last
Did they all
episode.
die? Yeah, I
Yeah.
think still dead.
Yeah, Jast is still dead.
I don't get a familiar, which is kind of weird because you think Rangers would be the one you'd immediately think of for having some sort of an animal companion around with them.
So, do we want to rest here? Because I'm still down some hit points. Do we
We
just
Probably
want to rest
meet
here?
with the bugbears and discuss going forward.
Yeah.
Oh,
We'll hang out
gosh, I
here for
hope
a
I'll-
bit because he said he'd come back.
So I wouldn't mind taking a rest here so I can get my hit points and all my spells back. And we're pretty darn safe here because nobody's going to bother us here. Do we want to just take a long rest here?
Yeah. I'd like to find the bugbears and talk to them about what their plans are.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, this magical effect, do we feel like it's going to get worse if we stay here, or we've really just equated it to the treasure itself?
Yeah, you think this is like just how it is.
Mm.
So yeah, you wouldn't think worse unless there's some other external
We've put
condition.
our foot in the trap, and now
Right,
it's
now
how
it's-
to get the trap off our foot.
Now,
Okay.
as far as like those levels of exhaustion work, that you're in that first level, which means that there's other things that could happen just in regular game. The level 1 is the disadvantage on ability checks.
Oh, we should have been doing that the whole time.
That's totally been happening. We've known that. We were totally rolling with disadvantage over here.
Yeah, and I was thinking about that same moment. I had you guys roll that a moment ago. But it could get worse, but it doesn't seem it's going to be because of this stuff.
Okay.
My vote would be to rest here. Do you want to go and try to find the bugbears? Or maybe can you send Usud to go find the bugbears and have them send their captain
It'd be
here to
easier
talk
to
to
just
us?
relocate ourselves and find a more secure spot just in case there is anything else
I
moving
think we've-
around rather than just being in the most out in the open area.
We've defeated the biggest threat in the area, too, at the moment. And
Or
we think
heck,
that the
put
rest...
up the Dairn's Instant Fortress and just have
Ooh!
a safe spot.
There we go. Yeah, because like all the what are they called? The
Paladins,
the
bugbears,
little bit-
Ixoa.
I about called them axolotls. I I knew that was wrong. But no, like the Ixoa and all of the things that were friendly with this dragon, we've been told are already just probably fleeing the area. They know that the death has happened, so
All right.
I feel like we're perfectly safe
so
no
do
matter
you
where
want to
we
put up
stay.
the fortress and
I really want
and
to
take a
I
rest
think that'd be
and-
cool.
have the bugbears come to the fortress?
Yeah,
It's always fun to use items that we've been holding on to for a while.
you're right.
And again, like to be in an instant fortress like that inside a dragon's lair where nothing else is going to come into, probably a pretty safe
Yeah.
place.
So do we want to go find them and then bring them back here, or do we want to just go set up the fortress wherever we find them?
I'd rather find them and bring them back here.
Yeah, let's go
We
do that.
could theoretically put the fortress wherever and just blow a hole in the ceiling or something.
There you go.
About 30 feet tall?
Yes.
Was it? Yeah.
It
Let's
wasn't
go.
much of a ceiling as I recall. We
Yes,
could see
so.
outside.
Let's go find the bugbears.
All right, so back out the way you went, and going through different areas where you knew there was traps, you discovered, so you're not just flat heading through various rooms, but I would imagine taking the same
Right.
trail back out again
Fairly
to
key
avoid
route.
traps.
Yeah.
And once you get out to where the one of the Exoa's like probably fairly main encampments are when you're outside, there is no sound of combat. It seems as though the battle or battles are over, and there are a number of Exoa that are rounded up into groups, and there are bugbears in groups all over the place. It seems to have been everything's been subdued.
I guess before we get too far that way, I wonder, would it make more sense, remembering now that there are traps on the way back, do you guys want to go and gather them up? I'll spend time here disarming them, so that way if we're going to bring them back to the area, we don't have to worry about anyone setting off a trap.
Probably do that as we move.
I didn't know how, if they were too intricate of traps, if it would take a while, but if it's something like that.
Some would not be intricate, some could be very. So yeah, it'd be hit or miss depending on the type of trap
Okay.
that it is.
Do we
yeah.
run into one of those intricate ones on just the simple pathway out of here?
Yes.
Okay, maybe I will stick behind then, because we feel pretty
makes
safe in
sense.
this area that we're
Yeah.
in, and I'll work on disarming those traps, disabling them entirely, so that way when they come back through, no one accidentally sets off a trap.
Okay, gotcha. And what's that roll for you?
Sleight of hand.
At a disadvantage.
Now I wonder, can I take my time? Can I take 20 if I'm in no rush to get
Oh,
this thing
that's a
done?
good idea.
That's a
Even-
3.5
even-
rule. I don't
oh, is
know
it
about
really?
Yeah.
I don't
Oh,
know about
man.
fifth.
I thought
Yeah,
I
look
could've
it up.
sworn
Maybe
fifth
you
had
do
a-
something like that too.
because
Just I don't know.
mainly because I don't want to roll a disadvantage, because though I have a reasonably okay sleight of hand, its disadvantage is awful. But what are you finding over there? Anything?
Um,
Oh,
Sorry.
good punch.
yeah. Taking 20 isn't a thing anymore. Essentially, the way it works is that would be your quote unquote passive sleight of hand.
15.
So you'd be rolling at disadvantage then.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, we're still at disadvantage. Disadvantage functions as a -5 to that.
Oh wow. So it takes away my entirety of my sleight of hand thing.
Right. Yeah. You're either at disadvantage or you're at -5.
Cool. So instead of doing that, since I know how the traps already work, since we went through here one way, I just do controlled demolition and I set off the traps, assuming they're not going to block the pathway. Like if it's arrows will shoot out of the wall, I will set the trap off. That way those already go by, and that way it doesn't reset, and then they can walk through this way. If it's specifically a trap that will block the area, then I will disable that one.
Okay, yeah. So then, yeah, and that would be the more simplistic kind of a trap where there's some kind of a lead and it's going to pull stones down,
Yeah.
something like that. All right, so you're just going to work on cutting the line, the vine, the wire, whatever it is.
Yeah,
And
just
for the other things, when everyone's out of range,
I
you're
will
going to
set
start throwing
those off.
rocks.
knowing that I would rather not be staring down the arrow holes. Like I think I got that one
Because,
out of there
yeah,
as it shoots into my eye socket.
You and Zelen had determined the path through at least one room was very, very specific because
Yeah.
there was like little
That's
pressure
the room
plates
I'm
around.
very
Yeah,
concerned
so it's
of.
like throwing rocks inside there. Yeah, so go ahead and roll that one roll just to as those come up.
8.
That okay. Let's see.
Can I roll lower than my passive, or is that not a
Yes.
thing? Oh.
Yeah, we've had that discussion a number of times.
Because my lowest would be 10 with the -5 from the whatever. So it's not like it would have been great. Right? Maybe we don't want to stay here.
Give me a dexterity saving throw.
Okay. It's all. Is that a disadvantage?
Yeah. Let's check if that's an ability check.
Because I'm rather okay with that one that I rolled there, and I'm very concerned.
I'm getting that saving throws are not ability checks.
Cool. In that case, it is a 22.
Well, I'm rereading this because it says tripwire, etc. The DC to spot the wire is a 10. A successful DC of 15 dexterity check uses thieves' tools. So if I said roll a save, that's just because I'm used to saying it, but it's actually saying that it is an ability check. It is.
Well, that's what he did first to try and disable
Yeah,
it.
that's when I rolled the 8.
Now I assume with an 8 he's activated.
I set it off, and now I was rolling to jump out of the way.
Oh, I see what you're saying in that. Okay. Okay. Yes. All right. I
Wait a
understand you now. That's
wait
fine.
a second.
Yeah, because it does say down there dexterity 15 saving throw. It's very specific to that. Okay.
I should actually be. How does that work with thieves' tools? Because I'm proficient in those, so I should have my proficiency bonus on that, right?
You're either getting your proficiency bonus from sleight of hand or from thieves' tools.
Yeah, so
Are you proficient in both?
I'm not proficient in sleight of hands, but I do have proficiency in thieves' tools.
Then yes, you should be adding that.
Okay, so it was actually a 12 instead of an 8. I don't know if that makes any difference, but
No, it still would have been a fail.
okay, so a 22 on my dexterity save. I imagine I got out of the way of the boulder.
Half, as that part of the ceiling collapse. You took 11 instead of 22.
I don't have evasion yet. Eventually.
But the next time when you do have evasion, you will be able to, and those not happen.
Yeah. Okay. And cool. So.
And then once you guys get through, or they're already ahead of you, you get through the next room where you were passing through various, like a path to get where all the pressure plates are. I'm guessing you're just staying out of the area, you said, and just like throwing rocks into it until it's, and yes, and these like projectiles come shooting out of the walls and just glancing off the wall to the other side of it until you've thrown as many rocks in the areas as you can, throwing handfuls of rocks like you're shotgunning it. Perfect. And nothing else is coming out of the walls.
Very scientific. And then once I'm confident that I've disabled all the traps, I wait back by the mouth of the entrance for them to return with the bugbear army.
Okay, so, and you're also aware too that there was other rooms and like levels of like living, even like raising food in this place. So there's probably traps all over the place, things you haven't gone through, take an awful lot of time. Unless you got a local to point out where those kinds of things are.
Yeah, I wonder if we could persuade one of the Ixoa just to undo them all.
Yeah, but having taken damage already, I'd rather not them come back to find a dead Jacob, so I will count my blessings with my disadvantage and just wait for them to come back and make it very clear the path that we have to take. Just saying, like, you're safe in here, you're safe in here, not in there. We are safe in here.
Okay, so Boris and Zelen up, outside. You find Tulat, and he says, there isn't a dragon flying overhead. I would imagine you're successful. Impressive, heartily impressive. Congratulations. I never thought I'd see you again, and thought perhaps I might see your corpse as I was about to join you. So thank you for my life.
How did the battle go out here?
Well, there was a decisive moment where I don't know if it was intuitively or if there was some other kind of a societal cue, but many of the Ixoa just broke into the trees and were running, and they're probably still somewhere in the bowl leading into this place, heading out. I took that as a good moment, that I believed that their god was dead and that you were, or at least some of you were alive down below. Obviously, a number stayed here, and you can see their state, and they do look like a dejected bunch. Some fought to the death, to the last of their ability. It depended upon the individual. But I'm guessing from what we were saying before, Boris, we might still have maybe a third, maybe a quarter of their numbers here.
Mm-hmm.
The ones that fled, do you feel like they're going to reorganize and try to fight again? Or do you think they just were fleeing in more like confusion and?
Who knows? What they would do or where they would go. They could.
They're giant lizard food.
They could stay here in this bowl area,
bricks, or any number of nasty things around here.
Yeah, they could. If they have, we're all guessing that they've never been outside of this valley. That they wouldn't know anything. Because stepping outside of there would be like traveling to a different plane of existence. That I would think that they're not even going to leave this valley, that they'll circle back into it at some point when they believe that it's safe. That's my suspicion.
Our next goal is to set camp so we could recruit. Is there anybody among your numbers that need healing?
Many. And you can see there's different people that have, they're bandaged, but they have some of their own healing abilities too. So nothing seems too grievous in what they have right now. Like they had spread out the healing they could do, and they've exhausted it, and there's still some minor wounds.
Well, I can certainly offer to do some healing. And then, because we're just going to camp and rest, right? That's our next thing.
As currently planned, yeah.
So then were you going to ask all of them to come down with you in the tower? But they have prisoners at this point too, so I'm not sure how you, what you're asking of them or what you want them to do.
Yeah, I don't know.
There's not enough room in the tower.
Right. If they camp around the outside of the tower, we can sleep inside the tower.
Make it kind of a leadership thing.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I am going to.
Or rather, we're in the tower because it's ours, and we have the wounded in the tower because it's the safest.
All right, so he puts the word out among all of his men, and they are finding those that would still need more convalescence, and then a couple who are maybe just exhausted or out of ability to do, and a very small number. It's like 6 of
perfect.
them are
That's my mass cure wounds. I can do 6.
Oh, nice.
are being transferred down to go with all of you, and the rest they're setting up different areas to make what's tantamount to a corral. Maybe finding a room somewhere they can
Honestly,
put Exoa
building that down in Astari's lair adjacent to her corpse. Drive the point home.
Yeah, really, just Talat agrees and starts working out the work detail to get them down there.
Yeah, and maneuvering prisoners down under guard, yeah.
And yeah, it's a very woeful sight as they start arriving down below there, and that you're leading them back down in, I would imagine. So Jacob, when they're coming back in, you see it's both Bugsbear, some wounded, Zelen, and then Boris, and a fair number of Exoa.
How many?
That would be in the area of about 50.
Can you
Wow.
make Exoa good, or are they just bad to the bone, and there's no helping them to be good?
This is the first you guys have really encountered them. They've been
ruled by an evil dragon for generations. So I'd
Right.
imagine there's some cultural hurdles.
As far as the path goes, like they know how to get there. I'll probably end up taking the rear and just saying, like, you guys know how to get there. They don't have to worry. Just make sure no one strays off of the path. It's perfectly safe to get back there.
And yeah, they follow through. They go around the area where a wall's collapsed, where a ceiling's collapsed, and they keep on going the whole way
You guys
down.
see me a little bit more injured. It's like, don't worry, we're good. My thumb's bent back a little bit too far. Like, oh, there we go. We're good.
And you guys get back down below there, and it's woeful turns into abject fear. It isn't weeping. It isn't that kind of grieving, but you can tell that they're all terrified, and you could guess what they're assuming as far as they're being brought down here to be murdered or something. But their whole world has been completely turned upside down and just like yanked sideways. So it's really, really bad for them. The bugbears are led. They go straight into, well, I guess you haven't made it yet. The instant fortress isn't up.
I set down the cube, say Shazam or whatever the word is.
Shazam. How long does it last, the fortress?
Until I turn it
Until you
off.
undo it.
Wow.
Say contractor.
I thought there was a word to it, but that was on an older sheet, and it's not here right
If
now.
you don't have it to hand, I don't have it to
Yeah,
hand.
so I don't.
Shram.
But you say a word, and up it goes.
The
It
word is
that it is not as high as the ceiling in this place, so it doesn't
Damage
knock in
anything.
or do any of that kind of stuff again. And inside the fortress you go. The bugbears are very impressed, and the Exoa are looking at each other as though they're looking for like ducklings looking for a new mama. That they start, they themselves, as long as the bugbears let them, gravitating around the area of the tower, and they're not allowed to form a circle around it or anything. But they do take to one side, and their attention seems to be pretty much on the tower itself, like less you guys. And you guys go in, take your rest.
Yeah.
So whatever you need to update, change, go ahead and update and change.
Hit points and healing abilities, all that jazz. So, yeah, the bugbears take a nap and now they're fine.
Right.
Does that level of exhaustion go away with the long rest?
No.
Damn.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Yeah.
A question that I want to. You are totally unprepared for, and you are well within your right to say no or whatever. But
Okay.
since the precedent has existed and has been established already, the lead up to this question is: how hard and how large are the scales of this dragon?
The scales run any number of sizes. They can get very, very small. But if you were to hold your hand out and spread it out, you'd say there's an awful lot of scales that are about that size.
Because armor does get made out of dragon hide, at least in a lot of fantasy areas. Is that something that happens in 5e, or at least in your milieu? Is that a thing that happens?
I think
technically
it's
it's
certainly
magic
happened.
item, yeah.
And there'd be 2 ways to go. There's the actual hide that is all, sand scales. What could that be made into? A leather like something? And then there'd be what you can make actually with the scales themselves, the various plates. And some would be, probably too big to even work with. But
Interesting you said what I could make with the scales, because do I find a few that I think would make some very nice arrowheads?
you're probably better off going with like teeth.
I know that, but just like I feel like I don't know, the scales just it just feels different to me. I don't know why.
I would think that like if you take the precedent of say like a fish scale. If you're cleaning a fish, you could definitely, if you're not careful, cut yourself on a scale. Like if you run it sideways, it's like running your Gillette Mach 3 razor sideways across your face. It cuts really, really, really well that way.
Yeah.
You wouldn't think right off. You think it would still need to have some shaping done to it, but in a pinch, you think you could rig up that smallest size, like where the scale goes toward like the joint, like toward like what would be the underarm
So
of the thing.
with that in mind, I at least after the long rest, like in the morning, assuming we're not doing anything, just like gathering up, doing our talks, whatever, I want to find a moment to go and harvest a few things from the dragon.
You pull out this. You could have a pair of pliers in your
yeah.
thieves' tools, right? And you're over there, dink,
Claws,
dink, and you're pulling these
like shells.
How are the XO reacting? to
Yeah,
this
that's
Gladly
what
take
I
a
was
bit of
wondering about
hide,
that too.
staring at them while I do it, just like cut into their god.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that
Pull
they're
out its heart and take a bite.
Ooh, the dragon's heart. If I have a jar
Probably
that I can go
probably a
in,
little bigger than your head.
if I have something that can
probably.
hold that, maybe a cooking pot, that heart is so going to
So
Mr.
there's finally that cooking pot
The
that sounds
iron pot is
Yeah.
finally
That heart
helpful.
is so going to Mr. Sage. Like I think like that would be something that maybe the apothecary, maybe
so
the guy
as
can
a
do
huge
with
dragon, it's in the same size category as an elephant.
That. Okay.
The average weight for an elephant heart is about 12 to 21 kilograms.
Jesus.
So that's 26.5 to 46.3 pounds.
Yeah, so like say 33 or so pounds, somewhere in that range. So yeah.
how many calves hearts is
How
that?
many calf hearts is that? That's about 40 calf hearts. So you could certainly cut this thing's heart out. You have to work at it and dig for it and all
It'd
that.
take you all day.
It'd take a while to
Well,
dig
you're
through all
probably
that.
standing in the thoracic cavity for
Oh,
most
man.
of
You
it.
would be, and just the
if
blood
the
and gore.
opportunity presents itself, I might just do that. But I do gather
But
hide, scales, teeth, claws.
I wish there was that instead of a jug of genie trapping or genie containment,
sure.
it was like an alchemical jug or a decanter of endless water, and we could just hose you down after this because you're gonna be gross.
Probably, but I'm gonna feel good.
yeah, the flask of hazmat.
Do we gain up? I remember the Munchkin card. Mutilate the bodies, go up a level. Are we gaining level now?
I wanted another level, so I ate its heart out.
There is from the Ixoa a reaction, a shock reaction. The very first time you go dunk and pull a scale out of this dragon and go, boop, and drop it into like little leather pouch you have. And then as you pull the second one, it's just as bad. And the clink, and they go, at that too. And it's every single time you pull one out. So I guess if you meet your description you said a moment ago, that you're looking at them, meeting their eyes as you have a scale set and go dink and pull the next one out, that it seems to be like growing worse. They're not rushing away, but they are.
Well, they got
like
corralled. As I
they're
recall.
they're like gnashing their teeth and moaning that they can't see that there's this horrible desecration that you've got to be, from their perspective, the worst kind of evil thing.
This is what they
there
get picking the
actually
wrong
is.
side.
And they were born into it. They didn't even choose. They've just grown up this way. And you take probably dozens of scales about that size. Let's actually say 3 dozen scales that size. And
So
as
what
you're
song does he play with the rhythm of them gasping in terror?
right. And then when you've cleared that area, you realize that though it's very, very strong, it's still very flexible and supple. That is, its skin underneath of it. So you had said you want to clear off
This thing's fresh dead.
piece of hide too. If you could, you'd probably take you the next couple of days to work down the scales off of a large section of hide. If you do mean to cut, you tell me, like a 4x4 or a 5x5 or so section of hide.
Yeah, what are you trying to do
off
with
this thing's flank, and then to skin it. You could do it. It just, how much means how much time.
And we have fantastic armor. I'm just really curious because I mean, at least from a standpoint of, it's a green dragon. I have a green cloak. I'm taking off enough to where I can create a leather cloak out of the hide of this dragon, just purely as a fashion statement.
Okay, just to see what you can do.
Because he's
with
got
it.
your claws. I want a flowing cloak of.
I think your
of green
fashion
dragon
designer
scales.
girlfriend is having a lot of influences on you.
Probably actually.
So we'll say 2 days. Then you guys are definitely here for a couple of days.
Assuming
Well,
you guys
yeah,
don't have
and-
any objections to that.
Yeah.
I'd rather get things handled, but given you can transport via plants, our travel time's been reduced to a spell slot.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah.
You want to like explain that, Zelen? So the
We
our
brought it
listeners
up
Well,
twice, and she
I'm
hasn't
a little
gotten one
worried
of
about
them.
these Exoas. I wonder if we could move them out of this area.
now they've been
Because-
properly humbled.
Well, because they've seen it, so they know what we can do. But do we need to keep? If there's a possibility,
do we need to
can,
keep ongoing psychological torture
right.
to break them
If we could
emotionally?
potentially turn them to be good things, they could help the bugbears.
Yeah, and I do intend to put a fortress here.
right.
Kind
Right.
of
Do you
a
really-
southern Arngol college, and if there's a ready-made, servant population,
Or the opposite. You don't want to have this guerrilla
Oh, we have,
battle going constantly.
I
we
splashed
gotta-
them with a hit.
we've had
I know, but still,
we have a couple days when Captain Charisma over here could actually like roll some
Captain
persuasion checks.
Charisma. I love that
Yeah,
name.
I think my priority is actually figuring out how this curse works to see if there's anything we can do about it. Because I'm not Captain Charisma when I'm at disadvantage.
Yeah,
I look down at my broken thumb. Good point.
I'm not good charisma just in my normal world.
Natalie doesn't have great charisma. Neither does Zelen.
Neither does
Conversing
Ellen.
with Usud, trying to figure that stuff out. My spell slots for this kind of thing are very limited.
I mean, I
gotcha.
can do a lot with animals, but I'm assuming they're not animals, right?
No, you're talking about the Exoa? No, they're not.
Okay. So I would propose we move them out of here so as not to we've demonstrated our power. Let's move them out so we don't continue
yeah,
to traumatize them.
Out of fear of being knocked from neutral to evil, I will
Exactly.
prevent any further torturing of the souls.
All right, so we move the Exoa into a place where
And in these 2 days, we're probably going through and clearing traps and taking inventory of the complex. And
right.
yeah,
And,
the
and-
Exo are actually pretty forthcoming when it comes to there's nothing to guard anymore.
Right.
That they themselves don't be herded into a room and held as prisoner or told to make your camp here when they know it's full of traps. So they are very communicative about where there's traps and dangers. What can't be done with language is a lot of like miming and descriptions.
well, that one
and,
speaks Draconic.
Is that what they speak?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So they...
Ripping their god apart, speaking them in their own tongue.
Do you want a souvenir? Do you want...
Piece of God, just 3 gold pieces. Body of Christ.
Mouthful is like, I'm sorry.
Wow.
Did you want some?
So you're still working
Yeah,
on
I
that
would
heart.
draw the line at eating it because it is
Yeah, yeah,
sentient.
yeah.
That is technically cannibalism.
So that first night when you guys are in the tower itself, the instant fortress, Tulat, wherever kind of the common room is in that, approaches you, Boris, and he says, I'm not sure what your designs are. You talked about retrieving those, and he's probably pointing at them or alluding to whoever seems to be carrying
Gesturing
them.
the leaves.
The leaves, and that's part of your great quest. And I was looking for a place that I could use as a base of operations. And as strong a point as this would be to move from, my men are still very uneasy. That I could see maybe establishing a camp, but I don't see staying here long term. There's too much that's been here for too long, and it's too ingrained in me. I'll be honest. I couldn't just say in my people. It's in me as well that I don't know that I would generally sleep well every night, that it would affect my prayer. It would affect everything if I were to stay in this place.
In my homeland, there is a fortress, a dwelling where warriors like us are trained in our ways. It is my intention to recreate that. It had been in the Brimroar, just generally, that I'd find a spot, and I think this is the place. Working with Zelen, it was my intention to have a message sent to others of our allies to bring stonemasons and carpenters and potentially bringing the Exoa into the project, assuming we vet them and find them trustworthy. And we begin to fell this twisted wood and rebuild the structure atop it and change this place for a more holy purpose.
Oh, what's the name of this place in your homeland?
Arngol College.
So you wish this college, an Arngol here, would that be a place where you would want fighters as my men and I?
Yes, it'd be a place for those who desire to learn can. We had discussed how I am a part of your order, I would not want to bind your order to this place. That unless you wished to be a branch and a teacher here in this structure when it's finished, then we could discuss that. But in your own business, in your own time, I'd imagine you choose your own place.
I appreciate all of that, and I'll keep that and relate it to the rest of the men. My thoughts are we would stay here long enough maybe to make it a secure place and do what we can to make it, though I'm not sure it needs it, a hidden place, so that the same way that our last stronghold, our last readout was difficult to discover visually, and then maybe have a contingent here and strike out again from here to work on quelling this place and taming it, this region, but possibly then moving out into some other location where we have a better defensive position and can move from that doesn't unnerve my men as they come back to the place.
I'll be glad to have you all as long as you wish to stay, and understand when you're ready to depart that you will.
Good. Then those plans for the future, I'm looking forward to that.
And at some point, I'd talk to Zelen about sending to...
Sending.
Yeah, casting sending and getting in contact with Deer Killer? Who'd we leave in charge in Weldon?
Hang on.
Arch Deerskinner.
Arch Deerskinner.
Gee whiz, what a memory.
Yeah, I'm spooky like that.
Irina Radabaugh.
No, I don't want God here because then I get demoted.
Yeah. Irina Shai Halud.
Irina Atreides. So I'd get with you, Zelen, about sending a message to Arch, kind of summarizing the situation, telling them where I'd hoped to get them, and hoping to get, stonemasons and carpenters and probably a fair amount of guards to start construction here while we're heading back up north to finish quest and, I don't know, see whatever's going on in Warland.
So yet seeding more civilization further down into the Brimroar.
I told Tulat the, Uko's honest truth, that I do want a Southland Arngol. So, yes.
Yeah.
That making this a stronghold and a place of, learning and divine ability.
Cool. All right. So then that's the end of that day. That second day, that Jacob, when you're still working on, the various skinning things of the dragon, you're aware that Mundir is standing next to you.
Just as I'm working, how long have you been there?
Oh, about a half an hour. I am stunned by what you're doing. I think you have horrible hobbies. Why are you desecrating this body?
This is a mark of our success. This is something that we have achieved, and I want to be able to remember this and potentially grow more powerful from it.
That's all sounds well and good. I would strongly recommend, though, that you don't cut out its tongue. That could ruin everything. And he hands you the bottle. But that's on you.
What do you mean?
That do you feel it? The taint of this place?
Yes.
Well, then, those of you that were involved in this, you need to make a blood sacrifice. And with the blood sacrifice, you could be free of that taint.
Boris!
We are almost to episode 100. Let us know in the comments what we should do to celebrate. Fund the celebration on subscribestar.com/the-empires-edge. Click that follow on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and let's see if we trend.